up, everyone? Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with me again. Yep, we're doing this again, back to back, trying to stay consistent. I promise. Actually, I don't promise. But you know, we're doing it anyway. Anyways, this week I wanted to showcase two species that I don't show too often here, and that I'm hopeful to finally have some breeding success with this season. So hang out with me and let's take a look at these two white whales, so to speak. So for anybody who's been following me and knows kind of what I like to work with, and my bread and butter being Morelia, you know that I've been trying to breed a good healthy variety of carpet python species, and there are a couple that have eluded me thus far, one of which being the Darwin carpets. Now specifically what I have are albino Darwins, but they are Darwins nonetheless, and the pair I'm trying to breed this year is a completely different pair than pairs I've tried in the past. Both of the previous animals are no longer with me. One I sold, one passed away from a tumor. And yeah, so there were challenges with those animals. Could just be them, could be me, not really sure. But I've since upgraded, so to speak. Got a little bit more of a strong, confident, kind of nippy even sometimes male, who I anticipate will be a good breeder with his attitude. And this is him. He comes by way of Nick Mutton. And this is a 2021 animal, so he's about 2 years old. Eating like a champ for me. It's about the earliest you can usually get males to breed, so I am confident that he is ready to do the job, but only time will tell. Alright, so that is him. Now let's take a look at his mate, future mate. Assuming as well. Alright, so this is another Nick Mutton production. This is a 2014 animal, obviously much older than the male. She's many times proven she is here to hopefully eliminate some of the variables on my end and demonstrate that maybe I can in fact breed these animals. She's a big girl. Glad she's not chewing on me for once. She's not trustworthy, but when she first came here, she was very hungry and I was still on the menu in her eyes. So since fed her up really well, and she is now getting ready to finish digesting and begin the cool down with the rest of everybody. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful albino Darwin. Really nice to produce some albinos. Believe it or not, these things hatch out nice and pink and orange, and then, as you can see, go through a dramatic color change to this white and kind of gold. Big, beautiful heads on these things. So those are the Darwins that I'm attempting to breed this year. Now let's take a look at the other species that I am hopeful to check off my list finally. Okay, so introducing Morelia bredli, commonly known as the Centralian python. These are the big red, boofy-headed, blue-eyed, just wonderful beasties. Big gentle giants as they are known. Start with that brick red that fades into sort of a black as you get further down. Cream speckly belly. There are some mutations in brettles like stonewash, genetic stripe, high bow, There's a patternless out there. There's a few other things that haven't been fully proven or developed, melanistic, so on and so forth. But they're really wonderful snakes, known to be quite docile. Anybody who's seen me raise mine up for the years knows that this girl actually gave me a food response on a live stream once, and my male's been quite dodgy. But they've seemed to grown out of that a bit. They're much more mellow and seem to fit back into the stereotypical Reptiles, Python, chill, mellow snake mode. The reason why I have not been successful breeding these this year, to my belief and my knowledge, is that I have not been able to get them cold enough. Now, where they're from, it gets very hot and very cold. And it's been determined that in order for the females to go through folliculogenesis and the males to go through spermatogenesis, they need to hit those low lows in the winter, go a little bit colder, and they are spring breeders, so they breed at different times. So last year what I did was pop them in one of the 6-foot cages behind me together, cooled them with an AC unit, and just tried my darndest to get them colder, similar to the rest of the snakes, and it didn't work. This year what I've got is a setup of a couple Exoterras at the shop in the back of the warehouse where it gets really cold at night. And I've got some basking UV heat bulbs overhead. We're doing some temp checks to make sure I've got them right where I want them. And then in a couple weeks I'll be bringing both this girl and the male I will be showing you after her into the shop for cooling to let them get extremely cold. I've got one of those Govee readers there so I can keep an eye on that. And the goal is to get them into the low 50s and then have them be able to bask only for like 6 to 8 hours a day at most under heat, and then go back cool them a little bit longer than the rest of my carpets, and then of course pair them later, after the cool down, sort of March, April, and see how that goes. So yeah, this is the big girl I have. She is a Lazic line animal. Really big girl. She's about 7 years old this year. Really dark for the winter. That's one thing you'll know or notice about these guys, is they can be really bright during the warm summer months, especially right after a shed, and she's no exception. And then in the winter, especially with females during breeding, they can be quite dark, very dark brick red. And as you'll see, it fades to this really nice black tail here. Very reminiscent of like a Boland's python. So if you like the big goofy head, you like blue eyes, let's see if I can get you a good shot of those blues. Yeah, pretty cool snake. They make great pets. They're relatively affordable as far as carpet pythons go, only about 250 bucks or so. And yeah, if you like playing with morphs, you can do that too. If you just want a cool, big, or medium-sized snake as a pet, Reptiles pythons could be your thing. And if I'm successful with them this year, I could be your guy. Fingers crossed. There's a lot of fantastic Reptiles python breeders out there. I'd like to solidify my understanding for them a little bit further by successfully breeding them, as well as checking them off my Morelia to breed list. So this is the big girl. Now let's take a look at the male. We'll wrap up. All right, this is my male Reptiles python, who is also a Lazic line. He's 6 years old. And as you can see, I've kept him quite a bit smaller, leaner. He is still a good, healthy, 5.5 feet or so. Has the quintessential red faded to black tail. Very cold tolerant animals, and I am starting to let the ambience in this room get cold, and he's quite cold to the touch, and he is super active, which is really neat to see. I mean, growing up thinking about reptiles and pythons as being, cold-blooded, needing the warmth, you don't think that some of them can tolerate cold, but these guys, really cold tolerant, very hardy snakes, not prone to respiratory infections, seem to eat rain, snow, or sunny, and just wonderful snakes. Like I said earlier, this guy used to be a little bit of a bite fiend, and I don't know if it's just because it's getting to the winter season, he's cooling down, I fed him a lot, or if he's maybe shifting into the breeding mentality and thinking about other things, but I am trying to be a little bit cautious and not take a bite, because as you can tell, I'm not wearing the brace on my hand anymore. I've got relatively full movement on my thumb, but it's still super sensitive, and I know if I were to be careless and take a bite on the thumb, I would cry like a little baby. So not gonna do that yet. It still hurts, but pretty much back to normal with that. Trying to get ahead of the game with everything else and keep on moving. So if you're looking for a cool python, Reptiles python males are a great option for something if you don't want something big but you can interact with. Darwins are fantastic too. Both of them would love to perch, climb, do whatever you give them. Hardy animals. Just two wonderful examples of fantastic Morelia, some carpet pythons that I hope to breed this season, and check off the list of Morelia to breed for me, and then be able to offer some wonderful pets or breeders for the peeps. And with that, I'm gonna probably close this one out. Big shout out to Chris at Heli Guy Serpents. Thank you for the awesome 3D printed perches as always. Everybody go check him out. He's running discount codes for the public, and if you're a Patreon member, you get special discounts. So heliguyserpents.com or at heliguyserpents. He has a couple machines running, so his turnaround time is only a couple weeks. So give him a shout, give him a holler, tell him I sent you. And then much love to Reptiles Express as always. Been sending out a lot of snakes this year to some happy people. On behalf of Reptiles Express, who's been able to hook it up with a wonderful discount code for you guys. Riley50 gets you 50% off up to 10 shipping labels per customer. Their sister company, premiumcrickets.com, use Riley15. You'll get 15% off your order at checkout. Much love to those wonderful sponsors there. I did mention Patreon earlier. If you go to patreon.com, look me up on Riley Jimison, get some perks, first access to babies when I have them during the season, monthly Zoom meetings, other discount codes at Heli Guy Serpents, and whatever else the future holds. And we have a wonderful Discord community growing that's been a ton of fun. So if that sounds interesting to you, go check that out. Again, that's patreon.com, Riley Jimison. And last but not least, definitely go support USARK. Become a member if you are not already. That's usark.org. And then they also have a Florida chapter, USARK Florida. I'll have the information, websites, links, everything below, so you can go sign up and become a member and help support them. They are the only legislative lobbying bodies that help us keep our rights to work with these wonderful little blue-eyed pythons. So, with that, I will thank you. Thanks for sticking with me. Much love to all my patrons. I'll check you guys next week.